with Miss G, and today's sausage and gravy biscuits is on the menu. This is what you'll need to make sausage and gravy biscuits: self-rising flour, milk, butter, and sausage. It's a beautiful morning and it's a little bit cool, so I thought today would be a great day to have sausage and gravy biscuits. I'm going to start by making my biscuits, but first things first. I only have regular milk, and you can absolutely make biscuits with regular milk, but I like them better with buttermilk. So I'm going to make buttermilk. So I'm just going to take lemon juice and give it a squirt and let it sit for a little while I get the rest of the stuff ready. You're going to need 2 cups of flour. Now this is going to make about 6 biscuits. 6 of these 2-inch biscuits. So you're going to need 2 cups of flour. And when you're doing flour, you want to get it as fluffy as possible. So you're going to spoon it in. Okay, so that's a cup. Two cups. And I'm just going to put my flour to the side because I'm going to need it later. I'm going to go ahead and set my oven to 450. Get it preheating. Okay, so I want my flour to be as fluffy as possible, so I'm going to whisk it. Make it nice and aerated. And it doesn't really matter how long you do this, as long as you get your flour nice and fluffy and airy. You're going to need 1/4 cup of butter, and you want your butter to be as cold as possible. So I leave it in the refrigerator until I need it. So I'm just going to cut my butter up into little pads of butter. I'm going to drop it in. Now it's important that your butter is cold because when it cooks, it releases steam, and that's what makes your biscuits rise. Okay, I'm going to take my pastry blender. You can also do this with a fork. Just kind of blend it in real good until it looks kind of like little peas, or maybe a little smaller than that. We want to just cut it in your flour so it'll make those little air pockets. Looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of make a little well in here, and you'll see that my buttermilk has clabbered. my buttermilk in. And it's important that you don't do a whole lot of mixing here. You want to keep it as light and fluffy as possible. So I'm just going to kind of turn it until it makes a dough. Okay, that's about all I'm going to do to it. Now I am going to put a little flour here. I cleaned my counter real good before I started. Just going to stick this in the sink here. I'm just going to sprinkle some flour out. Put some in this cup to dip my biscuit cutter in. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in there. Okay, so I'm going to dump my dough out on the board here, and I know it's not really together, and it will come together. Okay, remember we're trying to make as little as possible to it. So I'm just going to sprinkle the top with some flour, and I'm going to fold it, and fold it, and fold it. I'm trying to do as little as I can with it. Okay, it looks like it's maybe one more fold will do to keep it together. This kind of gives you those nice layers in your biscuit. I'm going to put some flour on my rolling pin. And I'm going to roll them out. I don't want to get them too thin, but I try to roll them out to about, I'd say, a ½ inch thick. Now I'm going to take my biscuit cutter and I'm going to cut my biscuits. Try to get as many as you can. I'm going to put my biscuits on my pan. Usually I use parchment paper, but I've ran out of parchment paper. I'm making sure that my biscuits are touching each other. That way they grow up instead of out. And then I'm going to take the rest of the dough and fold it as little as possible and roll it back out and make a couple more biscuits. I think for this last one, I'll just make a drop biscuit. I'm just going to roll it and make my own biscuit because I don't want to waste my dough. It might be the ugliest biscuit, but it also might be the best tasting biscuit. Okay, my oven is preheated to 450, so I'm going to put my biscuits in for 12 to 15 minutes. I usually put them in for the lowest amount first because you can always add more time, but once you burn them, you can't take it back. So I'm going to put them in for 12 minutes. And then I'm going to get started on my sausage. Okay, so since I'm going to put my sausage in my gravy, I'm just going to crumble it up and brown it in the pan. And then we'll use the grease from the sausage to make our gravy. I'm browning up my sausage, and you want to make sure that you always cook pork all the way through because it has bacteria and stuff in it that'll make you sick if you don't cook it all the way through. So I've got my sausage cooking. I want to get it nice and brown and get all the fat I can cooked out of it because I'm going to need that fat to make my gravy. I'll let that rest for a minute, let it brown. Come over here, Keeper.
Okay.
Okay, so see how I've got my greases cooking out of my sausage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to have as much grease cooked out as possible. I'm going to let this brown just a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to try to squeeze as much of that out as I can. Sometimes I'm going to turn my heat down a little bit. You need to get the majority of the sausage out. It's okay if you don't get every little piece out because it's going back in anyway. Hot, I've turned it down to medium. And I'm going to grab a spoon. And I'm going to grab my whisk. Now you've got this grease in here. And you're going to put a couple of heaping tablespoons in your grease. And you're going to kind of do this and kind of make a little roux. Little bits kind of scooped up off the bottom of your pan. And then you're going to add milk. Half milk and half water. So I just put a little milk in here. That's probably about a cup. And I'm going to whisk it until it looks nice and smooth. And remember, I left some of my sausage in here. So I'm going to add a cup of water. I'm going to try to do equal amounts of milk and water just so I don't use all of my milk. Milk's getting kind of hard to find much because the boys drink a lot of milk. So when I buy milk, I usually buy at least 3 gallons. And they're not letting me get what I buy. They're limiting the amount of milk I can buy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the coronavirus. I'm just trying to get what I need. Okay, so I think this will be plenty of gravy. And you can add more milk, you can add more water to get more gravy because it's going to thicken up. We're going to give it a second to thicken, and you'll feel it. Let's whisk it a little bit more. I have made it where I just put all milk in it. Doesn't really change the taste too much when you mix milk and water. I think I'm going to put a little bit more milk in because I know when Carson gets up, he'll be really hungry.
Yes,
I'm just going to put about another cup of milk in.
He hasn't even gotten up yet.
I'm going to turn my heat back up to medium high. Stir that real good. With milk, it'll scorch, so just give it a swirl every once in a while to make sure that it's not stuck to the bottom. But once it starts simmering, you'll feel it and you'll see it thicken into gravy. We need to add salt, and usually the boys put more salt on it after they, because I don't want to put too much in it. And they add pepper if they want to also after they put it on their biscuits. Oh, my biscuits. Oh, my biscuits look really pretty.
Oh, you want me to come in?
Don't these biscuits look yummy? I'm gonna brush them with butter while I'm waiting on my gravy. Okay, so you can see how this milk and flour mixture that we're making gravy with is kind of starting to bubble. I'm going to make sure it's not sticking to the bottom, so I'm going to whisk it some more. It's almost ready to start thickening. You can feel it. When it gets real bubbly, you'll feel that it's getting thicker. I'm going to let it rest for a minute. It's starting to bubble. You can almost see it getting thicker. I can feel it getting thicker. And I just give it a swirl every once in a while it's bubbling. To make sure it's not sticking. It's beautiful gravy. Oh, you can see it getting thicker now, can't you?
Not too, man.
Okay, I'm going to turn my eye off. Ooh, this gravy's going to be so good. And as it rests, it'll get thicker and thicker. And my microwave went off, so I'm going to brush the tops of these biscuits with butter. Oh, they look so pretty. You can see they don't stick. Oh, these biscuits are beautiful. They've got nice layers. We'll crack one open in a minute and I'll show you what they look like.
Crack up what you made. Can I pause it?
Hey, look at these biscuits. See how we folded it and it's got these nice layers? When you pull it open, they're nice and fluffy. That looks like a delicious biscuit. It looks just about all the way done. I'm gonna give it another swirl. I'm gonna add my sausage back to it. You don't have to add your sausage like the other day when I made gravy and biscuits a couple weeks ago. I made sausage patties and so if they wanted to put the sausage in their gravy, they could, and if they didn't, they could just eat it by itself. So I'm just gonna put my sausage back in. That looks like some really good sausage gravy. Take that beautiful biscuit I had a while ago. I'm gonna spoon over some of my delicious gravy. Oh, that looks so good. That looks delicious. And sausage and gravy biscuit is what's for breakfast.